and welcome to another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
I'm Chris Costa.
So Chris, what would you like to talk about today?
Well, there's a new option in estimating order entry where you can override speed and spoilage tables. Yep. Maybe we could take a look at how that gets done?
Sure. As you said, it's a new button. It works for sheet-fed presses, digital presses, and postpress.
Okay.
Basically, it's a button that will open up a screen, a little grid, that will show you the actual speed at each quantity, the actual run spoilage percentage at each quantity, and the actual make-ready amount at each quantity based on the base speed, based on all the table speed and spoilage tables you have selected and inline ops you have selected. So you can actually see what it's calculating for those values. Whereas before this button, you'd only be able to see or change the base speed or speed or spoilage table.
Okay.
All right.
Makes sense. If we could take a look, that'd be
Sure.
great.
So I'm going to go into estimating order entry. And let's open up this first order. And I'll go into the first component. And we'll go over to the processes tab. And I'll go down to the press. So I have my Komori press here. I'm going to edit the press. And in the press here, the button's at the bottom where it says Speed Spoilage Override. If you click on this button, it'll take a minute, but it will open up a grid for you where for each quantity, I have 3 quantities in the order, it's going to show you the actual speed, and I'm going to drag this over a little bit. You see my base speed is 8,000 here, but I do have a speed table. So here it's showing you the actual speed that Enterprise is calculating it at for the different quantities. I don't have a run spoilage table, so I have 0% spoilage, and I have my 200 make-ready sheets based on the number of inks that are in the job. Now, what it will let me do here, if I cancel out of here, if I then add, say, a spoilage table, let me add 20% spoilage. So if I add that table, and now I go back into the speed spoilage table override button, you'll see it added the 20% spoilage. So making those changes updates this table. If I add an inline operation, say I add 10% slowdown. Now with an inline op, you do have to hit the save button or OK button and go back in. But it will now adjust those speeds. You'll see the numbers are a little different based on that inline operation. If I add an inline operation that adjusts make ready, so I've got one here that adds 50 sheets. Again, I have to hit OK out, go back in, click on that button, and you see it added the 50 sheets. Now what is especially cool with this button now is I can go in and make changes. So I can override this. If I want to have that speed be exactly 3,000 for that quantity, maybe this one I want it to be 3,500. Let me make that 3,000. And I'll make this one 4,000. Now when I hit OK, you'll notice this turns red. So basically it's letting you know here, because it's red, that you've made some changes. There are some overrides. So that when if you go back in here, you can immediately see that that button is red and you know somebody's overridden something. Now if I hit the calculate button here, you'll see that it will use those speeds and those spoilages that I've adjusted. So here's my 3,000 at this quantity, my 3,500 at the next quantity, and my 4,000 at the last quantity. Now when I go back in and I hit that button again, you'll see the actual speeds are red, so you can see what actually was overridden, show in red. And I can do the same thing with the spoilages. If I want to make that 25% spoilage there, and I want to adjust that to something different at 30, and maybe this one at 40, or same thing with spoilage. If I want to do 300 sheets of spoilage, but just for the lower quantity, I have the ability to do that. And when I hit OK, and I go back in, you will see that the values that I changed are showing up in red to let me know that's what changed.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now, what if you make these changes and then you say, well, I want to go back to the way it was?
Okay,
Is there a way to reset or override back to the beginning?
Sure, we do have a clear function, so let's take a look at that.
Okay.
Under the File menu here, for each of the 3 basic columns I can change, speed, spoilage, and make-ready spoilage, I can either clear the speed, or spoilage or make ready, or I can update it. If I do update, for example, here my make ready spoilage is 300 on the lower quantity, and I'm highlighting that lower quantity. The update will actually just copy that down to the other quantities, so that's what that does. But then, as you asked about clearing it, if I just want to go back to what Enterprise calculates, I can do that for each one individually. I can clear the speed. It goes back to the original. I can clear the spoilage. And again, they turn black now because they're not overridden, and I can clear the make ready. And then as soon as I hit OK now that everything's been cleared, that's no longer red because nothing's overridden.
Okay. And the clear is for all quantities. There isn't a way to clear just the one quantity.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, to clear one, you can go in and adjust it.
Just adjust it. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Any other questions?
No, I think that was great.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
I'm Chris Costa.
Please look forward for more to come.